We're grateful to share our love of vintage toys, games, books, and comics with you. If you're enjoying the journey, please like and subscribe. Your support helps us keep the channel growing. Thank you for being part of the RetroCult. Greetings, RetroCultists. On this RetroCult Roadshow, we're visiting Cooper's Vintage Village in Kernersville, North Carolina. This antique mall has been in Kernersville for well over 10 years, but it's recently undergone a renovation. It's been quite a while since we've been here, and I was pleased to see that there are lots of new vendors here, and a lot of them are selling vintage toys and comics. I'm not sure if love is the message I'm getting from the Chucky Be My Valentine. Now we're talking, the first comic rack of the day. We ran across a booth that's almost completely Batman merchandise. We did find a few neat things here. Looking back at the video, I didn't notice while we were there the Batman trick-or-treat bucket. As Halloween gets closer, I may have to head back and see what they're asking for that. After visiting the Batman booth, we then found a really interesting vendor who makes custom lamps. A lot of vintage ideas here with small 45s, cassette tapes, and my favorite, which is the rocket lamp. They had several of those. I may be revisiting them at some point because that would make a great addition to the comic book room. And then for a little more home decor, we found a Jaws metal sign. That would be really cool. Nosferatu and an Overlook Hotel sign, since we're big Shining fans here. And then, speaking of The Shining, found a nice dealer selling a lot of Stephen King books. I regret not buying the Bachman books trade paperback. It's got two of my favorite King novels, writing as Richard Bachman, The Running Man and The Long Walk. And it also has Rage, which I've never read, and it probably won't be reprinted anytime soon. Now we're at another comic vendor. Found some really good books in his $3 boxes. A few that, I'll be honest, I may revisit them pretty quickly and pick up some more. Quite a few Spider-Woman and giant-sized Conan and a few other Conan books. So that may be another video in the near future. my wife kept finding really good books in the priced as marked, including this Rocketeer Adventure Magazine #1. Unfortunately, those are not $3 a piece, so I'm going to have to give those a little more thought. But for today, I left them. This antique mall really does have a little bit of everything for everyone. My wife found a Sesame Street TV tray from the 80s. She didn't end up buying it, but that might end up as a gift at some point in the future. And there is a record dealer. He also sells vintage or vintage look-alike t-shirts. Found this Epcot Center cassette and book. I did leave it for $16, but that's another one I'm keeping in the back of my mind. If I buy that, I need to go find a cassette player. You really have to appreciate the sleeve art for a lot of these old records, like this Story of Beethoven. Just beautiful. I mean, even if I never listened to it, it's worth just framing it and hanging it on the wall. And now we're finding another toy dealer. A lot of the toy dealer booths are really nice, but they tend to focus on Hot Wheels, die-cast cars, a lot of NASCAR collectible toys. This one had a lot of action figures. I really do like the DC Primal Age figures. They're kind of a Masters of the Universe style figure. So, but took a look around. I didn't really see anything that really struck me today, but that's the beauty of toy hunting. You just have to keep checking back. Eventually, you'll find something. Now this is an interesting find. In the Venn diagram of football fans and zombie fans, this one is laying right there in the middle, especially if they're a San Francisco fan. So interesting. Might have to do a little research to find out what toy line that's from. And then as we were finishing up our walkthrough at Cooper's, I spotted this Masters of the Universe metal lunchbox, missing the thermos, but overall, nice shape. So let's take a look at a few of the treasures we found at Cooper's Vintage Village. We're going to start with a fun one. A Spider-Man appearance in Ren and Stimpy, number 6. This was one I remember the Ren and Stimpy show, loved it. I do remember the comics. I never really read the comics back in the 90s when they were out, but I loved this one. I mean, of course, I'm sure it's jokey and not in continuity, but it's definitely one I want. And I need to do a little research and see how long the Ren and Stimpy show comic ran. This is one, might be a nice little collection to put together. Next, found a couple of power packs, number 16 and 17. This one has a beautiful, I believe this is a Bill Sienkiewicz cover. He's an amazing artist. If you've never heard of Bill Sienkiewicz, definitely go look up some of his art. He did a lot of covers for Marvel and DC back in the 80s and 90s. Don't know if he's really that active anymore. I haven't seen his work a lot recently, but he has done some amazing work, fully painted art. If you want a great example of one besides this cover, I love this cover, go check out Transformers number 1, the Marvel miniseries back in the 80s. Has a beautiful cover. And number 17. Now this one, obviously, I'm not sure who this artist is. I haven't opened this and looked at the interiors. Power Pack is one of those books back in the 80s. I didn't read, didn't really follow it. Now as an adult, I'm like, oh, you know, I'm interested, because it's basically a team of child superheroes, one of which is Franklin Richards, who you might recognize that name from the baby that was born in the recent Fantastic Four movie. So he's a child genius. You can actually see it a little better in this one. He's wearing a Fantastic Four uniform with 4.5. Nice little touch. But Power Pack ran for a while. It's an interesting group dynamic now with them actually being children. So this is one, as whenever I see these, especially, you know, $1 to $2 or $3, these were in the $3 boxes at Cooper's. So yeah, definitely wanted to pick those up. The next one is ROM, the Space Knight, number 75. I believe this is the final issue of the ROM comic. Yeah, the Space Knight saga at an end. ROM, the Space Knight, it was a toy that was from the early 80s. It was a toy I always wanted and never had. So now as an adult, you know, I remember my nostalgia for ROM. I actually recently did purchase the Marvel Legends ROM figure. We'll be doing a video about that shortly. I have an unboxing video that needs to get done, and we'll take a look at that. But I would love to have the original ROM Space Knight figure complete in the box. Unfortunately, they can be a little pricey, so I'm still working on that. Actually, I've been buying ROM comics for years, thinking I'm going to put together a full run. The funny thing is, I always seem to run across low numbered copies, like ROM number 1s on a lot of back walls in comic stores. I believe, this is just a guess, I think I probably have at least issues 1 through 10, but I always seem to run across low number copies. And this one I picked up because when I think about it, I really don't see a lot of high number copy ROMs. Like, I don't see a lot of anything above like 20 or so out in the wild. So it was great. It was a funny little story. Yeah, I picked this up, and then actually in a quick succession, I actually saw this same issue from 2 other dealers. So Apparently issue 75 is fairly common, even though I don't recall seeing it before. And then in one day I saw it multiple times. Now this one, I was so excited to find this one, especially in a $3 box. It's got a pretty bad spine roll, but the staples look intact. Has some creasing on the cover, maybe even a slight tear, but still, for $3, a giant superheroes battle super gorillas. Come on, that sells itself. But Ernie Chan cover, just love that image of the DC superheroes fighting, well, I'm assuming King Kong with the size, but I'm sure there's probably a Gorilla Grodd story in there somewhere. But anyway, this is definitely one we will be doing probably take a deeper dive into at a later date. Then this, I was really happy to see. The Doc Savage Marvel run from the 70s, I believe it's the 70s, maybe into the early 80s, probably the 70s. I am interested in maybe looking into possibly adding those to my collection, but a giant-sized Spider-Man and Doc Savage team-up book, oh yeah, that was a no-brainer for $3. So that was a nice find. Then another Marvel Age. I mentioned in my Kannapolis Microcon that I am working on, I don't know if I'm working on building a full collection, but anytime I run across Marvel Age magazines, this was Marvel's news magazine, I mean, they actually sold it on newsstands and in comic stores to kind of let readers know what's coming up, special events, that kind of thing. This is one, anytime I run across these, if they're cheap, I will usually buy them. I have seen a few, believe it or not, that are kind of expensive, but with me, my price range, this $3 is probably about at the upper limit of my price for a Marvel Age. And then this is The Brute #2 from Atlas Comics. Atlas Comics is a really interesting story. Comics Trope did a pretty comprehensive look at the history of Atlas Comics. It was literally a comic company created to spite Marvel. Not my words. That's literally the reason the company was created. And you can tell it with the livery on the cover, the red bar across the top, very similar to, the Marvel Comics group of the time. This one doesn't have a red one, but Marvel always during the 70s and early 80s had that stripe across the top with the Marvel Comics group. The Atlas logo, I mean, very, very much this, you could probably swap out the livery for Marvel and it looks like a Marvel comic book. But so I am actively trying to build a full run. Most of the books from the Atlas Comics line didn't last beyond a couple of issues. Like, I wouldn't be surprised to find out if this issue 2 was also the last issue of The Brute. But I love it. It's a Hulk-like character. I can't wait to read it. He's fighting the reptile men who look strangely like orange versions of the creature from the Black Lagoon. Anyone who knows me knows I love the creature from the Black Lagoon. So we'll definitely be taking a deep dive into Atlas Comics as I close in on completing that collection. And I'll include a link somewhere up here maybe to the Comics Trope video about Atlas Comics. It's definitely a fun watch. Then one more Marvel Age. Another $2.75, so it fits safely within my price range for that. Nice Quasar cover. So, and if you're interested in that kind of content, leave a comment letting me know, and maybe we'll do a flip through of some of the Marvel Ages. Now, this isn't a comic book, but my wife, she wanted this. This is a TV guide, and it is from 1975, and it's the week of her birth. So that was definitely a must-have. And let's see, who do we have on the cover here? Oh, I can't read his first name. Everett. Chet. Oh, I think it's Chet Everett. He was obviously an actor in that time period. My only comment about it was, too bad it couldn't have been a Star Trek cover or something. That would have made it even cooler. Then that does it for the comics and stuff that we got at Cooper's. I did find this DC Comics Pocket Superheroes with the Silver Age Green Lantern versus Sinestro. This is a toy line from DC Direct. I'm guessing probably the 90s, late 90s. There was no, I took a look. I didn't see any copyright date on it, but I'm guessing this came out in the late 90s or the early 2000s, looking at the DC Direct logo. And these are really cool. They're kind of Lego minifig-ish, but I like them. They seem to even come with some kind of bases, maybe. I'm not sure what those are. I really liked this in that this series, anyway, it really focuses on characters not as well known as Superman or Batman. It does have Wonder Woman, and I love how they seem to come packaged as a 2-pack, each one with the hero and their best known villain. Although it looks like the Legion of Superheroes set, that you don't get a villain, it comes with 2 Legionnaires. We'll definitely be on the lookout for the Aquaman and Black Manta one for my wife. But yeah, this is a really nice, these are really cool little figs. I would love to see, McFarlane, or I guess he is doing that with his page punchers, although those figures are so tiny. I really like the size and the look on these. I would love to see these brought back. And then the final thing we got at Cooper's, the last thing I need is another coffee cup, but it was a Batman kids coffee mug from Six Flags. Looks like it was $6.99 when it was new. So I got a bargain for $1. But it's a nice little mug. Don't plan on really drinking out of it, but it'll go on a Batman shelf somewhere. So anyway, that does it for this haul from Cooper's Vintage Village. And please don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you enjoy this kind of content, be sure to recommend the RetroCult to your friends, share it, and let us know in the comments what you like, what you don't like. That helps us to make sure that we're providing content that you enjoy. Until then, have a good one. Bye.